Hello, Ruckers, and welcome to another episode of Pass the Popcorn. I'm your host, Santiago Melli-Huber.
And I'm Matt Herrmann.
And this is a very special episode of Pass the Popcorn because it's February, and the 84th Annual Academy Awards are airing on the 26th.
That's right, so we're going to be reviewing three pretty good movies for you, one not being so Oscar-worthy, but it was a big blockbuster. That's Cowboys and Aliens.
The other two movies are two of the only three ever to win the Big Five Oscars. That's Best Picture, Actor, Actress, Screenplay, and Director.
One of them being One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
The other, Silence of the Lambs.
So stay tuned, you're watching Pass the Popcorn
on RUTV.
It's not your lucky day, stranger. Turn around and start walking. I said, turn around and start walking.
Do I know you?
You don't remember anything.
Jake Lonergan, turning you over to the federal marshal.
Boss, Lonergan's in town.
I want that man. You give him to me now, or I'm gonna take him.
Is it demons?
Why are you asking me? They're coming back! They're coming back!
Welcome back. You just saw the trailer for Cowboys and Aliens starring Olivia Wilde and Daniel Craig. Now, to me, this movie was lacking three things that would have made it a great movie. Plot, characters, and logic. There was no plot. It was basically $160 million worth of special effects with a few stock characters that you might see in any old Western movie from the middle of the 20th century. There was no depth to any characters. There was no reason behind any of their actions. There wasn't even any logic to the storyline. They didn't question the fact that there were aliens. They weren't even surprised. It's like, oh, this happens every day, so let's just go after them. There wasn't even a unifying theme throughout the whole movie to sort of keep it all together and keep it a concise piece. I mean, a lot of the explosions and stuff are pretty cool to look at, but beyond that, it's just 2 hours of my life that I'll never get back.
For me, it kind of seems like you hate the movie, but I'll first start off by saying it's worth the watch. If you're watching this show, see Cowboys and Aliens. But for me, the only problem I had with this movie was the expectations. The anticipation for this movie with the trailer, the commercials, there was a lot of buildup. You know, you see the trailer, you see Harrison Ford, Daniel Craig, Olivia Wilde, and then they throw names at you like Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man, Steven Spielberg, and Ron Howard are in there. So with all these actors, I'm thinking this movie's going to be great, you know, with the crew behind it. And it was good, but it wasn't as amazing as I thought it was going to be. The action was good. Like Santiago said, the character development wasn't great. For me, what I would have liked to seen a little more of was, you know, they're in the West. It's obviously a Western with aliens. But I would have assumed that the townspeople would have been way more surprised to see people being snatched up by spaceships. You know, and they were just so okay with it. Not really okay with it, but I would have expected them to freak out a little bit more. They were just like, okay, there's a beeping wristlet. I don't even know if they know what electricity is, but you know, they're fine with all this crazy stuff going on. But I still say it's worth a watch, but I think you might disagree.
My biggest problem with this movie was the fact that it took itself so seriously with such a ridiculous premise and title. Like, they weren't even trying to have fun or laughing at themselves that it's a movie about cowboys fighting aliens.
I think it goes back to, you know, the fact that this isn't an Oscar-worthy movie. It is a blockbuster. It's sort of taking the snakes on a plane approach with the title. It's Cowboys and Aliens. That's what the movie is. It's just boiled down to, I guess, the dumb, typical Hollywood consumer of movies. Like, just that's what it is. This
wasn't even nominated for any of the lower tier Oscars, like the less popular ones like cinematography or editing or anything, or sound editing. This was not nominated for a single thing. And I'm pretty sure that Harrison Ford is just embarrassed to be a part of this after his greatest role ever, which we all know to be Air Force One.
Well, I wouldn't say embarrassed. See, Harrison Ford plays the same guy in every movie. It's Harrison Ford in whatever scenario he's in. I think, you know, he plays the role in this movie just as well as he plays any other role. It's cool to see him in a Western. I don't know if he's been in another Western, but I wouldn't say embarrassed.
We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be reviewing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Stay tuned. You're watching Pass the Popcorn on RUTV.
Not the off-campus housing you expected, huh? The Rutgers University Off-Campus Housing Service helps students find affordable living accommodations in the university's neighboring towns. Off-Campus Housing has recently partnered with student housing website placesforstudents.com, a site that prides itself on dedicating 100% of their efforts towards providing students, schools, and landlords with off-campus housing service solutions. For more information on off-campus housing services, please visit ruoffcampus.rutgers.edu.
Why do you think they might think that?
It don't make a bit of sense to me.
Do you think there's anything wrong with your mind, really?
Not a thing, Doc. Excuse me, miss. Do you think it might be possible to turn that music down so maybe a couple of the boys could talk?
Your hand is staining my window.
God almighty, she's got you guys coming or going. A little change never hurt, huh? A little variety. Aw, come on. You're not gonna say that now. You're not gonna say that now. You're gonna pull that henhouse shit now. When the vote, the chief just voted, it was 10-9. Now, I want that television set turned on right now!
I don't think he's overly psychotic.
I want something done!
I think he's dangerous.
Jesus, I mean, you guys do nothing but complain about how you can't stand it in this place here, and then you haven't got the guts just to walk out? I mean, what do you think you are, for Christ's sake, crazy or something? Well, you're not.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it! See how easy it is?
We're from the State Mental Institution. This is Dr. Cheswick, Dr. Tabor, Dr. Scanlon. I'm Dr. McMurphy.
Hey, Mikey! What? All right, take him over! Get on over here! Get up, Dave!
How about it, you creeps, you lunatics, mental defective?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I'll never forget you.
Welcome back. You just saw a trailer for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now, this is the second movie ever to win the Big Five Oscars, the first being It Happened One Night. This, of course, stars Jack Nicholson, probably one of his most famous roles, especially for young Jack Nicholson, if you want to divide his career in half. What I liked about this movie was just the fact that it was very simple. It was very well written. You know, not a lot happens, but it's a lot of dialogue, and the dialogue's very good. It's a lot of it's mostly about the interaction between characters, and as you know, a lot of great movies are like that. Jack Nicholson definitely deserved the Oscar, and I like how there's some notable people in there who have small roles, one being Danny DeVito, which I didn't even know it was Danny DeVito until halfway through the movie when they had a close-up on him. He looks completely different from his days now in Always Sunny. And Christopher Lloyd, who is famously Doc Brown, plays one of the other patients in the hospital. And the ending was the best part for me. I won't give it away to you, but watching this movie, I thought, this movie's good, but when it ended, it really took me in, and I really like it. What did you think?
Well, I agree. The ending was definitely the highlight of the film. And if you've seen this movie, or if you've read the book that the movie is based off of, you'll understand why. It is kind of slow throughout, but like Matt said, the dialogue is very strong. Jack Nicholson's character is great. But for me, the highlight of this film was Louise Fletcher's performance. She plays Nurse Ratched, the antagonist of the movie. Her portrayal of Nurse Ratched is consistently considered one of the greatest villains in American cinema of all time. And her steely personality and her calm yet very intimidating manner of speaking is so chilling. It rivals that of Hannibal Lecter in the movie we'll talk about in a few minutes. But it was such a strong performance, and it gave me chills watching her. It really did. She was the nurse that sort of oversaw the ward in the mental hospital, and she ruled it with an iron fist. And I can go on about her performance, but we only have so much time in this episode. That I'd kind of like to know what you thought of that.
Well, you mentioned slow. The movie was slow. That was one of the things I noticed and didn't like about it while I was watching it. Mm-hmm. But then once you get to that ending, you realize that the whole movie was the build-up
yes,
towards that ending. But you don't even realize that you're going through that build-up. It's, wow, there's a lot of dialogue, and it's a little slow, and I was getting a little impatient. But then I realized that it was all to really get to connect with all the characters, and you do that without even really realizing it. All of them, all the patients, and the nurse, she's really sort of evil in a way to the patients, but I didn't dislike her. Like I
didn't either.
I still liked her. She was a good person. Like, I didn't hate her.
Well, no, she was an awful person. In the book they give so much more information about her character than in the movie. Obviously, that's just how it works, adapting a novel. But in the book, like she's even more like she has the same sort of like level, calm demeanor, but you see her do so much more. Like the character Billy, who stutters a lot and is very, very timid. She uses his mother against him consistently through the book, but you only sort of see that at the end to subdue him and control him. She controls all the characters, except obviously for Jack Nicholson's character, which is where the conflict arises.
So definitely check out One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest yourself. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be reviewing Silence of the Lambs. But right now, let's go to Kajori to see what's on our at the movies this month.
Hey, Ruckers. This is What's on Our at the Movies, and I'm Kajori Bhattacharya. And I'm here to tell you what flicks are up on this month on channels 30, 60, and 106.1. With Valentine's Day coming up soon, it's the perfect time to cuddle up with someone and find a good romantic comedy. So get your boyfriend, girlfriend, or just a friend and watch Friends with Benefits. Here's a clip.
Never told me you had a hot boyfriend.
He's not my boyfriend, Mom.
Oh. That's right. We're just friends.
Oh, I love it. Ooh, it's like the 70s in here. Woo! It's great. Okay, well, that's technically, I guess, what this is.
That's exactly what this is.
I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind being friends with Justin Timberlake. Check out this romantic comedy on our HD channel, 106.1. Now, if you're not into romantic comedies but have a special place in your heart for psychological thrillers, here's a perfect, suspenseful classic for you. Find Buffalo Bill with Clarice Starling, Jodie Foster, and Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, in The Silence of the Lambs. This film will definitely keep you at the edge of a seat or barricade in your room. Speaking of classics and being stuck in a room, here is a great movie and a personal favorite. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest stars Jack Nicholson, who plays a patient at a mental institute with his misfit of friends. Be sure to fly to your nest to catch this great movie. Anyway, well, if you like crazy movies and ones that are funnier than I am, then check out this sequel, Hangover 2. This hilarious movie takes place in Bangkok, where tattoos appear and fingers go missing. So do make sure you are fully intact before you see this movie. Here's a clip.
I'm scared.
Stu, come on, get up. We got a situation.
Oh, holy. Where are we?
They just crack me up. Well, these are only some of the few great movies that we'll be playing all month. To get the full list, visit rutv.rutgers.edu. And if you have any movie suggestions, be sure to post it up on our Facebook page. Just search RUTV Network. For What's on RU at the Movies, I'm Kajori Bhattacharya. See you next time.
You spook easily, Starling?
Not yet, sir.
He's past the others. The last cell. I'll be watching. You'll do fine.
A killer is on the loose.
Keeps them alive for 3 days. Then he shoots them, skins them, and dumps them.
A rookie FBI agent is on his trail.
He's got real physical strength, cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
But in order to track him down, she'll have to match wits.
I'll help you catch him, Clary.
Believe me, you don't want Hannibal Lecter inside your head.
With the darkest of all minds.
Just do your job, but never forget what he is.
Oh, he's a monster. Pure psychopath. So rare to capture one alive.
So close to the way you're gonna catch him. Do you realize that? Oh, Clarice, your problem is you need to get more fun out of life.
You told me you don't spook easily.
You call this easy, sir?
Lecter's missing an arm.
Man's a raving maniac. Who knows what he'll do?
Thank you, Clarice. Thank you.
Welcome back. You just saw the trailer for Silence of the Lambs, starring Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster. Now, Silence of the Lambs is about a young FBI trainee, played by Jodie Foster, who is asked to talk to Hannibal the Cannibal Lecter, who's a serial killer and as the name would imply, cannibal, to try and solve the case of a recent string of murders by a new serial killer known as Buffalo Bill. Now, I can't think of anything wrong with this movie. The acting was incredible. Jodie Foster was at the top of her game. She rightly won an Academy Award, as did Anthony Hopkins. And like we said before, this film also won Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. Also, the cinematography was incredible. The shots and the angles, coupled with Anthony Hopkins' portrayal of Hannibal Lecter, was so disturbing and chilling that I just kept leaning closer and closer into the screen until I was like touching it with my nose. I just wanted to just... I don't even know why I was doing that. I was just enticed and mesmerized by it. It was so gripping that I couldn't get enough of it. What did you think?
I think you wanted to kiss Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, because I know I did. But again, this movie, it was all about expectations for me. I thought Cowboys and Aliens was going to be awesome, and it wasn't. This, I thought it was going to be a horror. I expected it to be Hannibal Lecter just eating the crap out of everybody throughout the whole film, and, you know, there being a lot of scares. But what it turned out to be was a psychological thriller. It really wasn't Hannibal Lecter's story. It was Clarice's story as she went on and tried to solve this case and catch this serial killer, and she was just using Hannibal Lecter as a resource to sort of get into the mind of a serial killer so that she can catch this other one. But the dialogue between Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster, the exchanges were just so intense. Like Santiago was saying, the close-ups, it really brought you in. Hannibal Lecter is just a complete psychopath, but he's smart. Jodie Foster is a young, up-and-coming FBI agent, so it's like the novice agent going against one of the most brilliant people of all time, who just happens to be a cannibalistic serial killer. And just everything all tied together, the story throughout, the way it ends, just all the characters. Buffalo Bill is just an interesting person, and because of this, I really want to see the sequel. And is there one or two sequels?
I think there might be 3, if I'm not mistaken. There are a few. There was a recent one.
There's Hannibal. Oh,
there's like Hannibal Rising.
Yes.
And I think there might be another one. Yeah, I think Anthony Hopkins was in 3, and then Hannibal Rising was like a prequel with someone else. So I think there total might be 4. I'm not 100% on it, but I agree with what you were saying that. Like, I thought it was also going to be a horror sort of akin to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was pleasantly surprised when it wasn't, because making it a psychological thriller was just a much more intelligent film than what I was expecting, so it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, but don't let psychological thriller throw you off if you were expecting a horror. There's
a lot of Hannibal Lecter eating people.
Yeah,
in this movie.
there are still scary moments. There is action. It's not all people talking. But that's what makes it so great, is the dialogue and the interactions between the characters are so intense, and then you still get the action that you wanted. So it's like you get what you wanted plus a great movie.
Be sure to check out Silence of the Lambs this month on Are You at the Movies. Right now, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to wrap up our show by giving you our Oscar predictions and by rating these 3 movies.
Welcome back. Now it's time for us to give you our expert Oscar predictions, starting with Best Actress. I think this year it's going to go to Meryl Streep. She's been nominated a lot of times in the past few years, and she hasn't won since 1982, so I think this year's her year.
Meryl Streep is a favorite, and I like her, and she did win the Golden Globe for that role recently. But I think this year it's Glenn Close's turn for her role in Albert Nobbs. She was a woman playing a man, and it was a very difficult role, and she hasn't won a single Academy Award yet, and I think this year's her turn.
Now for Best Actor, I'm going to say George Clooney in The Descendants. That movie's been getting a lot of hype. He also won the Golden Globe, so I think the momentum's going to carry over, and I think he's going to take home the Oscar.
I definitely agree with you 100%. I think it's going to be George Clooney. He's going to move on from his Golden Globe win, take the hype in that press, and push him for the Academy Award. So George Clooney.
Now for Best Picture. I think Hugo is going to take this one home this year. It was nominated for 11 Oscars, more than any other movie this year, and it was directed by Martin Scorsese. I saw it in theaters, and I thought it was great. It was 3D, but it was one of those movies where the 3D really helped, and it didn't hurt. I think, and it's very film-orientated, the plot, so I could see why the Academy likes this film.
I think the Best Picture is going to go to The Help. It's been getting a lot of press lately. Emma Stone is very popular. It won a few Golden Globes. Also, the Oscars tend to like sort of underdog stories or stories about groups of people at a disadvantage. Milk was a heavy favorite, but it lost to Slumdog Millionaire, which was also an underdog story. So following that pattern and other movies like it that have won in the past, I think The Help's going to win.
A lot of movies nominated for Best Picture this year.
It's traditionally just 5 movies, but the past few years they've been doing like 9 or 10.
It takes like all night for them to play the trailers and tell you who's nominated. But I guess, for the movie industry it helps because they get more names out there, and the Oscars, the Oscar-nominated films always get a lot of buzz.
That's true. But right now we're going to go into our final reviews for the 3 movies that we talked about today. Starting off with Cowboys and Aliens, I did not like this movie. I think the only redeeming quality of it was that some of the stunts and effects were kind of cool, so I'll give it 1 popcorn.
I also like the stunts and effects. I think it was a better movie than Santiago is giving it credit for. Worth a watch, not Oscar-worthy. I'm going to give it 2.5 popcorns.
Next is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I loved this movie. It was incredible. Jack Nicholson kind of bothered me a little bit at some point. He was a little too Jack Nicholson-y, so I'm going to give it 4.5 popcorns.
I also really liked this movie. Jack Nicholson was great. All the characters were good. It dragged a little bit until the very end, but the ending put it over the top to make it an actual good movie for me, so I'm going to give it 4 popcorns.
And finally, Silence of the Lambs. I also loved this movie. I couldn't think of any problem this movie had. I mean, I'm sure if I watched it a few more times, I'll be nitpicky, but overall, I'm going to have to give it 5 out of 5 popcorns.
I agree. This movie was great. I will watch it again. I don't think I'll be nitpicky, though. I think it's going to be one of those movies that the more you watch it, the more you like it. So I'm definitely giving it 5 popcorns. There are a lot of good movies playing on R8 The Movies this month.
Yeah, besides Silence of the Lambs and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, we're also showing some other movies that won a few Oscars, like Boys Don't Cry and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
We also have other films that are maybe not Oscar-worthy, but they're entertaining blockbusters, like The Green Hornet. And if you want to head over to our website, rutv.rutgers.edu, you can see the complete movie list as well as our schedule, and you can watch this episode of Pass the Popcorn as well as our past episodes.
Be sure to like us on Facebook by searching RUTV Network and follow us on Twitter at RutgersTV.
And if you want to suggest a movie to see on R8 The Movies, you have a favorite movie you like, just email it to us at rutv_popcorn@email.rutgers.edu.
This has been your special Oscar edition of Pass the Popcorn. I'm Santiago Melli-Huber.
And I'm Matt Herrmann.
Enjoy the movies, Rutgers.